Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had a really good week. And if you are tuning in for the very first time to Mental Health Moment, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. If you tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live, welcome back. And for those of you who are tuning in on the replay on Dr. Nekeshia Hammond YouTube, welcome. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for tuning in here. And thanks for those who are starting to join here. Let me know where you're tuning in here from in the chat. And today I am in Illinois, where it is actually warmer weather today, which I'm pretty excited about. And if you're new to Mental Health Moment is about all things how to be the best version of who you are. So you can show up for yourself and you can show up for those around you. So every week, every Tuesday, we're doing different wellness tips. We're talking about ways we could become better versions of ourselves. And excitingly enough, this month, May, is Mental Health Awareness Month. If you didn't know, very exciting. But today, I wanted to ask you all, because I've been asking some people around, and it seems like for some odd reason in the last week or so, it almost feels like we've had this like full moon, just weird things happening, a lot of things kind of falling apart, a lot of things very hectic and overwhelming over the last week or two. And when I talk to other people around me, they're experiencing the same exact things, and just really bizarre, just different things all happening at once. So let me know in the chat if you are experiencing that too, which actually brings me to our mental health topic today, though. And it's really about how do you deal with being overwhelmed, right? Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but it's like we look at whether it's social media or traditional media in the news or whatever it is that you're watching, and it can really seem like the world is falling apart. And there's a lot of things happening at one time of what we're seeing. And then in our own lives, we may feel like it's just really hectic, chaotic, overwhelming, and it's hard. So a lot of times, for those of you who are new on Mental Health Moment, we talk a lot on here about how do you get into a place, right, of inner peace? How do you take care of yourself? What about the self-care? What are you doing for you? Which is important, right, for us to work on being in that state. But also the reality, right, is something is going to happen in your life that is, even if you have inner peace, something is going to happen in your life that disrupts your inner peace. Like that's life. So when you get into those points where you feel overwhelmed, when you feel chaotic, right, that's what we're talking about today. And we're talking about ways that you can deal with all of that overwhelm if you're experiencing that, or confusion, or whatever it is may be going on. Because as I mentioned, for some odd reason over the past week or two, it feels like so many just odd things are happening all at once. A lot of people I'm talking to are experiencing the same exact things. So how do you deal with that? The biggest thing I want to remind you of when it comes to dealing with being overwhelmed, when it comes to dealing with being stressed out, is you have to assess for you, what is it that I need in this moment? What you answer today, you can put in the chat too. If you want, put your answers in the chat. But what do you, and I mean emotionally, mentally, what do you need today? And whatever your answer is today might not be the same answer you had a couple of months ago, or it might not be the same answer in a couple months from now or a couple years from now, right? We all need different things at different times, but it's so important, especially on this Mental Health Awareness Month. I want to stress to you how important it is. I know it's hard, but for you to take some downtime to ask yourself, what is it that you need? So today, for example, as I mentioned before, with all the whatever's in the air, whatever's happening, so many things, overwhelming changes, unexpected things happening all at once. Today, for me, I knew, okay, I need to take a short break. I need to spend time in nature. For me, nature is very therapeutic. So I'm here in Illinois. I went to like a river park area, which is really beautiful. Saw the skyline, just took some time, took some deep breaths, worked on my spiritual growth, work on mentally getting into a place of mindfulness, How can I work on dealing with the overwhelm that's happening, right? So this is what I do personally. You have to ask yourself, and it might be the same thing. You might be like, Dr. Hammond, I love my walks. Me too. The nature walks, right? I love being in nature. I know a lot of you before have told me you love gardening or whatever it is for you that you need to work on getting back to a place of inner peace. However, just a reminder, you all, this is a cycle. There is no person on the planet that wakes up from the day they're born, has inner peace, and has it every single day of their life and no stress until the end of their life. No one, right? We know that. That is literally impossible. Of course, we have stressors. Of course, we have things that come up. But when you work on, it's really the cycle is more or less, you do get into a place of inner peace. Something is going to happen. How often it happens, I don't know, right? It depends on what is going on in your life, but something will happen. It will disrupt your inner peace. You will move into a state that's not peaceful. Maybe it's chaotic for you. Maybe it's overwhelming. Maybe you just take a little dip. You can go back. It depends on how big the issue is, but that is a cycle. But your goal, hopefully, is to work on ways to get back into your state of inner peace, right? Knowing though something is going to come up, right? What is it that you need to be doing for you to get back into a place of inner peace? And again, all of our answers, there's no right or wrong because it's what worked for you. Listen, as a psychologist, one of the most common questions I get asked is, what do I do for self-care? And I could tell you a whole list of things that I do. And I just shared one of them with you, right? My nature walks. But really, it's about what is it that you need? Because what I need, I can list my top 10 things, but that might not be the same for you. And that's okay. And the same thing, you might list it and you can list it here in the chat and someone else may see and be like, yep, I do that too. Or you might be like, nope, I'm uninterested, right? There's no right or wrong to this. On mental health moment, it's really important that you get into a space where you work on making it a regular habit of checking in with yourself. When you get to that place of being overwhelmed, asking yourself, what do you need emotionally, mentally? What do you need, right? Do you need a break? Do you need to take a walk in nature? Do you need to pick up the phone and call someone? Do you need to check in with someone? Maybe it's even a text message. What is it that you need that can help you move into a state of inner peace? Now, here's the second part to this. Let's be realistic. Whatever you need is not something necessarily that's going to be overnight, right? Let's say you're driving and you got a flat tire. That would, that sucks. None of us want a flat tire, but you get it changed somehow, right? Whether you're doing it yourself or someone does it or whatnot, and you move on with your day. It might cause a delay, it might cause you some frustration, but you move on with the day. More than likely, you might not necessarily stress about that for months and months, right? But there's other things that happen that may take longer for you to process, and that's okay. And that should be a part of this cycle that we're all in, is for you. Yes, you have the inner peace. Yes, you may have whatever issue that you may be dealing with right now, processing and feeling those emotions, even though it's hard. Now, how do you do that? You say when you're dealing with overwhelm. For some of you, it looks like reaching out to someone that you care about, someone that you trust, someone that you're able to talk to. For some of you, it's a mental health professional, which is fine. I know there's a stigma of mental health, but getting the help that you need in the fashion you need it is okay. You are strong for doing that. You're amazing for doing that. You're smart for doing that. All the things that we tell ourselves about getting help, whether it be through a therapist or some other type of professional, all the things that we say, I'm crazy or I'm stupid or all these things, like, they're not true. They're absolutely not true. It's quite the opposite. It really means that you're strong enough to say, you know what, let me take the next level. Let me take the next step, right? To work and process these feelings so I can get back into my state of inner peace. I cannot tell you, man, over the last couple of years of doing mental health moment, you all. So for those of you who are new, I've been doing this for years, and some of the replays are on YouTube in case you missed some of them. But I've said it probably a million times, but I'm going to say it again. Deep breathing, you all, I'm so glad that person brought it up, because it is one of the most powerful things you can do for your body, physically and emotionally, mentally. But we take it for granted because we wake up. If you're watching this right now, you're breathing, right? We take it for granted. We don't sit there and think about every second when we're breathing, we really take that for granted. But when you take the time to take deep breaths, I practice this on a daily basis, you all, really and truly, because there's so much happening. We all have hectic, busy lives, including myself. There's a lot to juggle sometimes. So taking those deep breaths are so cleansing for your energy. They're cleansing for your physical body. They're cleansing for your the mind body connection. They're cleansing for your spiritual growth. I mean, there's so much benefits of taking the deep breaths. And a lot of times I do that as well when I go on my nature walks, making sure to really focus on the present moment. I always use my hashtag. You guys know, the ones of you who follow me on Instagram, hashtag take a minute, because it's so important, even 60 seconds a day. So important to really focus on being in the present moment, taking deep breaths and having some peace of mind. Whatever brings you joy in your times of overwhelm, you should do your best to get into that state. I don't say that lightly though, because I know whatever it is that you all may go through. I know sometimes you all share in the chat and it's heavy. You all like it's hard and it's heavy. So to say like, well, how am I'm in this dark place, I'm in this difficult place. How do I experience joy that might be hard to understand? But I would strongly say to do your best to have little moments of joy. And then you can bring it again. I'm talking about 60 seconds here, minimum. But starting even with 60 seconds, your brain usually can say, you know what? Okay, I could do 60 seconds, right? 60 seconds of joy, 60 seconds of silence, 60 seconds of prayer. If it's a minute of deep breathing, whatever it is you want to do in that minute to start to train your brain to know it is okay to have joy even in the midst of dark times, even in the midst of grief, even in the midst of losing a job, even in the midst of losing a loved one, even in the midst of change of a relationship, even in the midst of conflict in your family, whatever it is that you are experiencing, you are still allowed to have those moments of joy. I'm so excited, you all, about my next book. I'm going to share that when I'm almost ready to get it to the publisher. I mean, not just to the editor slash publisher. And yeah, I'll definitely be telling you all more about that. But I have some breathing techniques that I'll be putting in the book. It's a new book coming out at the end of this year, and it is all about wellness, all the things I talk about on Mental Health Moment. I'm putting that all in a book finally for everyone, really. But I'll share more on that later. But I'm so glad that I'm already seeing and hear you all just sharing how important breathing is, because it absolutely is. You have to ask yourself, what do you need? And some of you, like you were honest enough to say in this chat, is I need a vacation. Like, that's allowed. If it's feasible and within your means, and however that looks for you. For some of you, a vacation is a couple hours away from home. For some of you, it's a weekend. For some of you, it's a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it looks like. Take a mental vacation. Please do take the break in the way that you're able to, that's feasible and that works for you. We all need a brain break. We all do. But meditation also very, very extremely beneficial. Extremely beneficial. I know a lot of you may think, if you're new to meditation, you may think, it's something that has to take a long amount of time. Again, with everything I share, I always say start with a minute. If thinking about taking 30 minutes to meditate is so overwhelming, which it can be, and that's okay, think about taking 60 seconds, just to start, just to quiet your mind, just to get into a peaceful place, right? Just to try to clear out your thoughts. I absolutely love yoga as well. So that's also a really great exercise. Again, I know it comes in many different, now it comes in so many different forms. Way back in my day, when I was a lot younger and I did yoga, I did what's called flow yoga, but there wasn't as many types of yoga as now. So now you all, if you're interested in trying that practice, if you're new to it, there's so many types of yoga. A couple of friends and I soon, hopefully maybe sometime this summer, we're going to try what's called goat yoga, actually, which you probably have seen it on the internet. But basically it's yoga and you're surrounded by goats and they're kind of just roaming around doing their own thing. So that should be interesting. But there's hot yoga, power yoga, flow yoga. There's all different types of yoga. So if you're interested in that, obviously you can find a place local in your area to even try it out. There's a lot of wellness things a lot of wellness things that I've tried over the years. It doesn't mean that that you have to make this commitment for the rest of your life in something you try for your wellness. But even when you try something new, that can be very therapeutic for your brain as well. Hopefully, it's something enjoyable that you love. Don't do something that you absolutely hate, because that's no fun, right? But just something you maybe are interested in. If it's meditation, if it's yoga, if it's, I mean, there's so much right now. If it's sound therapy, there's so many different things that you can try. Music is also a really great tool, you all. I personally use music as well. Just sometimes, again, we're talking today, for those of you just joining here, we're talking today about how do you deal with feeling overwhelmed? How do you deal with feeling stressed out, right? Because a lot of times we talk about the peaceful side, how to get in that peaceful side, the self-care. But what about, which is great, but what about when you slip into that side of like, I am so stressed out and overwhelmed? Then what? There's a lot of ways that we can naturally try to shift our mood some. And I don't mean when you're in a deep, dark, heavy depression. That could take a different type of therapeutic approach, probably with a mental health professional. But if you're just having like kind of a down day, or just a little anxious or something mild, sometimes putting on some music, whatever type of music you love to listen to, can help to elevate your mood temporarily. Man, I was listening to something, you all, the other day. God, I wish I knew the person. I feel so bad. I don't remember who said this. I was listening to a clip on Instagram, but it was so great. And I wish I knew the name of the person so I could give him credit. I don't remember who said it. But essentially, the question that the interviewer said was, what is it you would recommend if you had to recommend, like, two basic things that people can do to work on depression or work on anxiety besides medication? And the person answered, exercise and change of diet. If he had to really boil it down. And I am not here to say to stop taking medications. I'm not here to say I'm anti-medication or any of those things. However, his point was, the person in this interview on Instagram, was how powerful exercise can be in your life. There's plenty of studies, I can go on and on about it, about how exercise can help reduce depression, because it increases your feel good hormones. It helps physically, obviously, with a lot of different physical health conditions. So exercise has a lot of really great benefits. Do what works for you, though. If it's some area you hate, I know a lot of people hate running, then don't run, right? Find another way to exercise. For me, I absolutely hate biking. I still do it sometimes in some of my gym classes, but I don't love biking. Like, I would never bike a very long distance. That brings me no joy. I do love running, right? But if whatever form it is for you, if it's walking, if it's running, if it's biking, if it's Zumba classes, if it's yoga, whatever form of exercise, as long as you're moving your body, that works for you and bring you joy, is what you should be doing. But yeah, but thanks you guys so much for sharing that here. As I wrap up here, if you all need me at any time, you can always reach out, drnekeshiahammond.com, or on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Feel free to connect. If you need a mental health resource in your area, I'm always happy to do my best to try to connect you with a resource. Again, this is May, Mental Health Awareness Month. So again, I want to remind you how important it is today, when you're getting overwhelmed, when you're getting stressed out, to really be assessing, what do you need? What do you need? Again, that can be different months and years from now, but today, in today, right, that we're in the present moment, what do you need to help you thrive, to help you be better, to help you feel better, to help you get back to that place of inner peace? Please be in a constant question with yourself to be assessing this. And then part two to this is, of course, taking the action steps that you need, whether it's a mental health professional, the American Psychological Association, if you're in the US, has amazing resources, psychologists all over the country that can be helpful. If you're outside of the US, you can look for a psychological association in many countries, or mental health resources. If you are in an area where there may not be a lot of mental health professionals, there's still a lot that can be done to help and aid in mental health, right? So there's There's a lot of different resources. We just have to make sure we're taking the time to utilize them. So again, step one, to make sure that you assess what do you need. And then step two is taking those action steps. Again, if you need me, you know where to reach me. I will be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Have an amazing week, you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye, you guys.